All right, I'm right on time. It is exactly 4:30 p.m. my time. Check me out. Now you see the topic. You see the thumbnail. You've heard this said at some point in your life, but you usually have heard it said about boxers. The real champion. In UFC, is there a such thing? I think it is an interesting discussion. So let's have it. Are any one of the champions the real champion of the division? If so, how do you measure that? What are you using to reach that conclusion? Share it with me for this video. What criteria do you use to reach that conclusion? I would like to know. But since this is my video and I'm on the mic, I'm going to tell you what I believe. You can believe whatever you want. And I want y'all to stay mindful of that. Because for whatever reason, when I speak, many of you think I'm trying to shove my beliefs down your throat. And if I'm just right and if I'm dealing with facts, then that's exactly what I am doing. But I'm very clear about what I'm not trying to force people to believe and what is my opinion or viewpoint. As many of you know, I came over to MMA. I became a fan of mixed martial arts late in my time where I enjoyed combat sports. I was exclusively boxing. I didn't watch wrestling, nothing else, only boxing. And that's how it's always been in my family. Traditionally, Black Americans have a long history in boxing. We've been in boxing since the earliest days. The very Jack Johnson. So it's a part of our culture. Boxing, just like boxing is really a part of Mexican culture. It's like a part of their culture, boxing. It's a part of Black American culture as well. And in boxing, I'm going to ask y'all this question. In boxing, what do you typically see? When you have a champion of a division, what do you typically see? I believe boxing has a much more thorough and well-established way to establish the real champion. How do they do that? They have multiple champions. And in order for you to be considered the real champion, what do you have to do? You have to hold all the belts. For the young people who follow the channel, you may not follow boxing and wonder why one fighter will have multiple belts. This is why. Because multiple belts exist within divisions. And the idea is that the best fighters in the division holds at least one of the belts. And if they currently don't, it's only a matter of time until they actually do. So if you take all the belts from all the champions, you're considered the real champion. You're now called the what? Undisputed champion. There's no disputes. And in the UFC, it's kind of tricky because there's only one belt. So we, the fans, have to decide who's the best fighters in the division. And we automatically do this. This is why they came up with the idea of having multiple belts. Because there's only one belt in the UFC, we automatically, tell me we don't, we automatically start talking about who are the best fighters in the division. And if you have the belt and you haven't fought one of those fighters who the general public believes is one of the best in the division, you're not really considered the real champion. What people do is they always say, oh, you have to fight them. We'll see. You got to fight such and such first. And if you haven't even fought like the top 5, the top 6, top 7, from that seat, you're not the real champion. You're the champion, but you're not the undisputed champion. So, when you start getting into this discussion, I think the word undisputed is more fitting for the discussion. Yeah, you're the champion. For Shevchenko, for the example, she's the flyweight champion, but she's not the undisputed. She's not the undisputed champion. Her reign is disputed. How can she make it so where her reign is not disputed? She has to beat the top fighters. That essentially is the same as taking the belts from the best fighters in the division. And in this case, you first have to beat the fighters who've done the best since they've been in the UFC. You have to fight and beat the fighters who are doing best in their careers, because it will show in the fact that they are now the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on ranked fighters. Shevchenko is not the undisputed flyweight champion. Weili Zhang is not the undisputed strawweight champion. This is just the way I look at it. I've always done this. I automatically, without even thinking about it, as soon as I start watching MMA, I automatically started doing this. And, of course, Raquel Pennington, Juliana Pena, they are not the undisputed champions. Has anybody ever been the undisputed champion? Yes. Valentina Shevchenko. And I believe for a long stretch, Amanda Nunes, where the girls who had actually done, who were doing the best in the division, to the point where they were now ranked number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There was a point where the champion had beaten all those girls already. And now you have to do like what Alex Pereira did with Khalil Roundtree. And we've seen it done several times. At that point, it was time to fight a fighter who was ranked like number 5 or 6. That was Alexa Grasso. When she lost to Grasso, she lost her undisputed standing. That's just how I look at it. So yes, I think there is such a thing as a real champion. But what? A lot of work has to be done. I don't just hand out titles like that as a channel host. Okay? I understand a lot of young people go around saying stuff like that. But as I've gotten older, words have meant more, had more relevance. For example, look at this division. You see that? Gervonta Davis, WBA under his name. He's trying to fight Lomachenko to what? Take that strap. Right now, his reign is disputed, and he can't say he's the best in the division. This is something that fighters strive to have said about them, that they're the best in the division. But it's kind of difficult to actually prove that. And in my opinion, for a fighter to really prove that, you got to beat the top fighters. And even then, your reign is disputed because there may be fighters who are ranked very low who can beat you. But I go ahead and give them the undisputed title, real title anyways, because they are the best of the best. The fighters who've done the best in the division, this fighter has beaten them all. So you are the real champion. Yes, there may be fighters ranked low who can beat you. But because you've beaten the best of the best, you have proven to be the best. Let the others put in the work, grow and develop, and then we can talk about maybe them being better or your equal. But I think that, the boxing blueprint works. It's not just for show, okay? Not just that, okay? WBF, IBF. And we all know Lomachenko. We all know Gervonta Davis. But look at down here. WBC, Shakur Stevenson. Another undefeated fighter. You see that? Several undefeated. Look at the WBO champion. Another undefeated fighter. And I like the way this is set up. And if y'all followed me for a long time, you know I've always used this same template for WMMA. Hey, you got a fighter doing well, baby, undefeated. You got to prove that you're better than them first, before I say you're the best or the real champion. Because what does the real champion, what does it mean literally? It means you're better than everybody else in the division. You know how hard that is to prove? You know, it's really a phrase that it's rare. It's hard to be the real champion. There may be somebody in that division who'll slap you around real good. Yeah? But I like the idea of the real champion because I instantly equate it with undisputed. Like when I hear the real champion, when I hear that phrase, it always triggers in my mind, you're talking undisputed. You're saying undisputed. Has the champion proved that yet? I don't think so. Now, Weili, I think, look, she hasn't fought Suarez. She's beaten Yan, hasn't fought Verna, beaten Andrade. But there was a point where Weili had beaten a lot of top girls too. You remember they did the same thing with Rose, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly. Rose was ranked kind of low, wasn't she, when she got her title shot? Because Joanna had beaten all the girls up at the top. She had proven that she was the best of the best in that division. And that's another thing. Many of those girls at the top division have already given many of the girls ranked lower and unranked an L. Are already beaten them already. There's a good chance that the majority of the girls up at the top have not have fought and beat some of the girls at the bottom. That's why they're up there. That's why they're ranked high. But with Shevchenko in the bantamweight division is the most whoever has the belt. It's like you're the most unproven. And in order to be considered the real or undisputed champion, you got a lot of work to do. Look at Raquel. How many defenses did she make before she lost the title here? Now, a lot of them have fought already. Rocky's already fought. She just fought Pena. Prior to this, she hadn't. She fought Ketlin, beat her. had not fought Kayla, stopped Macy. Wasn't that at 145? I think that was at 145. Right? So she was doing what she was supposed to do, somewhat. She was in the process, but had not established it yet. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't really hear me throwing around titles like that or saying things like that about a sitting champion. That they're hands down the best. Shevchenko and Nunes are the only ones who's really come close to have that happening, or actually being in that position. Especially Shevchenko. That was the saddest division I had seen, and then at that point, it may have been the saddest one in the UFC, where she's basically given the female fighters in the division motivation speeches. Like, hey, girls, you got to believe in yourself. When you get to that point, where you're basically trying to lecture the rest of the division, telling them to have confidence, believe in themselves, and trying to coach them into fighting you. You're the king of that division. You are the undisputed champion. Shevchenko, in my opinion, reached that point. Joanna, I think, wasn't Joanna at that point too, where she had already defeated the number 1, 2, 3, 4, if I'm not mistaken, for at least for a short period. Joanna had reached that level too. Got to Marcus Bell and Miss Black in the house. Title defenses matter instead of just... Yeah, exactly. Title defenses, in my opinion, is the most important thing. If you want to argue your greatness or whether you're retired or not, if you're the champion, where are your defenses? That's why I don't understand the people who compare the legacy of like Khabib to Demetrius Johnson. No. I don't care what y'all think of Khabib. It's a whole different ball game when you the champion and you only fight the best of the best, and that's all you're fighting. That's a whole different story than what Khabib went through. The most important thing is title defenses. If you have a lot of title defenses, you feel that ruby, the belt, right? You get your red rubies. And who's the first to feel it? Shevchenko. That proved that she was the undisputed champion. I like the way the UFC has done this. It's made it where you establish through your accomplishments whether or not you were the undisputed champion. She's filled up all those bing. But that undisputed era was at that the time when before she fought Alexa Grasso for the first time. To me, that was when she was undisputed. And with this most recent victory, she was able to be the first to fill that belt because of that undisputed time of her career that she earned. It was like a late reward. But as it stands right now, she simply hasn't proven that she's better than the top 6 fighters. Okay, it's top 6. If I'm not mistaken, Rose was like number 6 when she got a title shot. It was like way down. It was something ridiculous. She has only fought Shevchenko, as I speak, has only fought 1 out of the top 6 fighters. So, and that's why she got another side of the belt where she can add more rubies. Can you be undisputed again? Now, you can fill all those rubies and not have ever been the undisputed champion. You know, you get the belt, lose, make one defense, lose, keep getting it back. eventually you'll fill up one of the sides of the rubies, but you were never the undisputed champion. You had never proven that you beat or were better than the best of the best. And man, I think they both got hard. That's a hard job, because Weili means she has to fight Suarez, which is not an easy fight. Virna, or really both of them, not an easy fight. I don't think. She already beat Yan. She can use Yan's existence to say she's the undisputed champion. But as soon as she got some work to do first. She beat Andrade, and I don't really see Andrade getting another title shot at all. Even though they're short or getting short on opponents for Weili. Amanda Lemos, she's already defeated Amanda Lemos. Rodriguez just got beat by the number 14 ranked fighter. Weili beat Suarez and Virna. I mean, yeah, she's irrefutably the best of the best. That's basically what it is. You're undisputed or the real champion. Another way of saying, are you the best of the best? Are you the best of the best? UFC needs to put more emphasis. They lack depth. In my opinion, they lack depth. There should be a more significant way to highlight that you are now the best of the best, just like boxing does. Once you become the best of the best in boxing, and it just looks good. You look powerful when you're holding multiple belts. It's a way where you see, soon as you look at them, you're a different kind of fighter than a fighter you'll see with one belt wrapped around their waist. Like, oh, what's this? You got, what is this, 5 belts right here? So we'll see. Maybe UFC in the future adds that, because they took the boxing blueprint anyways. You know, they basically just MMA version of boxing somewhat. It's got some obvious differences where it's a whole different type of thing. But you saw them bring in the BMF belt, right? Why do you think they did that? Trying to acknowledge other standout fighters. That's what it was. But as right now, the only thing you have to stands out, or that will stand out if you're proving you're the best of the best, is all 8 rubies being filled in your belt. And even that, like I said, it don't really acknowledge your undisputed status. But that's what I guess YouTubers are for, right? That's what I'm for. I'll point things out like that when and if it happens. But yeah, Rocky had already beat Ketlin, Macy, so she had some work to do. And Pena, look at Pena. She ain't fought nobody. Like Kayla Harrison said, which is something I never reflected on. She had not beaten anybody in the top 15. Currently, Rocky is the first fighter that Pena has fought in the top 50. How is that even possible? How is that possible? Raquel was the first fighter that Pena has fought, as I speak, in the top 15. Pena, I'm sorry, girl, you cannot be out here talking smack. If there's ever a fighter who got some work to do, it's Juliana Pena. And kudos for, I guess, Harrison and her team for pointing this out. I never even thought to look at that. But that is an obvious thing you look for. Who have you beaten in the division? Sarah McMahon is gone. Julia Avila. Okay, she fought Julia Avila. Okay, good Lord. It's still bad. That's still bad. Lord. So, Pena got the belt. And I'm telling Pena, you are not the undisputed champion. Your reign is disputed. Oh, yes. Y'all gonna get this work. We get deep and detailed over here. You are the champion, Pena. You're the sitting champion. But you're not the undisputed champion. Because, wow. The division you're in, you haven't put in really, virtually no work at all. No work at all. And that is kind of crazy. Kayla Harrison has fought more fighters in the UFC than Juliana Pena. In the top 15, currently. And Kayla has only 2 fights in the division. We should not be able to say that about a fighter who just got a title shot. That is kind of insane you think about it. UFC be all over the place. Lord. And now she's trying to bait somebody out of retirement? No. She still, just still don't want to fight nobody in the division currently. Calling out retired fighters, a fighter you fought twice already. No, Pena, come out of that matrix that you're in, where you feel like you're too good to fight any of the fighters on the roster currently. Come on out of there. Come out that room, Juliana. Get in here. That is not happening. I don't like that at all. And if they try to give her that wish, why would Nunes even want to come out to fight you? Why would you even be asking for that? Why would Nunes want to come out of retirement? For what? To prove what? It's not like y'all been having some big back and forth. And what are you talking about? And she's been threatening to whoop you if you get the title. That would be different. Like, yeah, you get that belt, I'll come out of retirement with no training and beat you up. Okay, here comes Nunes. You just out of the blue, like almost out of desperation, come fight me, Nunes. Girl, get out the past. She's still trying to live in the old division. That's what she's doing. She's trying to keep her and all them other old fighters alive. Who you gonna call out next? Sarah McMahon? Hey, Sarah, you're still under contract. You won that first round. And I want to prove I can beat you off. What are you doing here? Who you gonna call out next? Rematch Julia Avila? It's almost like she's allergic to fighting new blood or a fighter she hasn't fought yet. No, Pena, no. And it's just one man's opinion. But that's ridiculous. You out of order for that. And that really makes fighters like Ketlen Vieira look a lot more deserving. Look at all the fighters she fought in the division. And really, all the other fighters, they've been fighting each other. You got to put in some work. Simple as that. So it's definitely no undisputed champion at 135. Shevchenko, as I speak, she may have had an undisputed run for a while, but she lost to Alexa Grasso. She got stopped. And right now, she just got the belt back. And currently, she's not the undisputed. Her reign is disputed. There's some dispute there. Not only, let me add one more thing. Not only has she not fought 5 out of the top 6, the other fighter in the top 6, she was stopped by. That makes a difference. It would be different, if she fought her once, Grasso once, and beat her. But that's not even the case. So Shevchenko is right now is up against the stiffest competition of her career. And I mean, what is she, 32? She's still kind of young, but man, this is the stiffest roster for her, lined up to fight her. So I'm entertained, because I think she got the option to retire, honestly, but she's obviously not ready. I think 32 or 34 she is. We'll see what happens. But she's majorly challenged to the sitting champion, but not undisputed yet. Her reign is disputed. Same with Weili Zhang. So we'll see what happens. At least Weili has beaten fighters in the top 6. She beat 1, 2, 3 of the top 6 already. See, that's a big difference. That's a big difference. Currently, she's a more established champion than Shevchenko. Currently she's just got us, in that regard at least. I'll put it like that. Right? I thought it was all about, what have you done for me lately? That's why Jon Jones standing as pound for pound number 1 has been disputed. Okay, you haven't done nothing lately. What fighters are currently doing, their current standing matters. So yes, I think there can be a such thing in the UFC as the real champion, and that's how it can be done. And I will leave it there and see y'all on the next live.